So I have been collecting for a very long time. You're looking at 17 years or some shit, and even then I was there in the early 2000s. And I've reviewed some figures in my collection. You probably recognise some of these if you don't already own it. But there's a lot that I have moved on that I never actually got the chance to speak about because I moved it on before I got around to doing a video on it, or it got damaged, or I lost it. And I thought I might just take some time today to just natter some old shit about the figures that didn't quite make it, the ones that never got to be done in a short. So today I'm going to be talking about 11 figures that I used to own and no longer do. And let's start it off with Alternators Shockwave. So originally I bought this guy in Easter 2009. I remember that. I don't know why I remember that, but I remember that he was my Shockwave because there just wasn't a Shockwave otherwise. Like, the only one you had between this one and the Siege one that was to do with, like, classics and generations and all that sort of shit was the Fall of Cybertron one that they decided to repurpose into G1 Shockwave. This is the closest one. And it was nice to have. It was cool. And then at the end, it just didn't go with anything. I got the Siege one. It was like, well, now I've kind of restarted everything with Siege like everyone else, including Hasbro did. I didn't see the point in keeping it, so I ended up moving it on. Now, of course, there was that recent poll I put up in the community tab where I said to you guys, have I lost my mind for thinking about selling off my Prime collection and starting an Alternators collection? And about 80% of you said yes. And I might get this guy again if I decide to go down that route. I don't know. Universe Galvatron. I think this was the first Megatron figure that I ever owned. Bad. Just bad. The idea is cool, and I liked a lot of what he did, but he was a deluxe and he was too over-engineered to be a deluxe. He just fell to fucking pieces. It was just shit, and I don't think there's anyone who's really going to disagree with me. He has his charm, and I'm not disputing that he doesn't have charm, but he is shit. He should have been a Voyager. Awful toy. Generations Windblade. So I bought Windblade because I think it was just one of these, because I think it was just I had money, but I like having like just random fucking characters, fembots, combiners, monster bots, fucking mini-cons, all that sort. I like having that sort of shit. I think because, you know, it's a G1 styled IDW female Autobot. At this point they were still quite relatively rare. I ended up getting rid of her when I got the Legacy United one, which I think you can see here. It might just be out of frame, because the Thrilling 30 Generations one was shit. The legs were awful, and the kibble from the wings was really bad. The colours were nice, and I liked the ideas, but it was just too busy for what it was, and I'm glad I never went in on that Slipstream repaint, because that thing fetches a pretty penny. Basically, I think if you're getting a Windblade, yeah, it's the first, but they definitely kind of worked out a lot of the kinks as time went on, and this is not the one you want to jump in on if you have a choice in the matter. Masterpiece Grimlock I bought in 2014. I found him in Toys R Us. I remember getting him because I was like, okay, just walked in, he was there. I'd only just started going to Toys R Us like in the months before. Yeah, I went very young, and then I went back like 15 years later. And this was the guy I ended up getting my hands on. He was so fucking good. I actually regret selling him. I think I only sold it because I wanted that kind of consistency between the SS86 Dinobots. And I now look back on selling this Masterpiece, and it's a regret because he would have gone so fucking well with them. So fucking it's an inhaler. I'm trying to be healthy. It's so fucking good. I'm kind of sad I got rid of him. He was just a good toy. It just, I didn't think he was going to go with anything. Sorry, I got something on my fucking eye there. So, okay, preface. This is the UK exclusive Nightwatch Optimus. So, this just dropped in Argos for some reason. It's slightly different to the American one. It doesn't have the Allspark blue. It's not an Allspark brand. It's literally just a repaint of Optimus in these colours. He was fucking amazing. I get sad when I see this guy pop up. Not just the mold, but the paint as well, because that was the first leader class figure I ever got. I think it was the first Optimus figure I'd gotten since I started collecting again as well. And it just depresses the fuck out of me, because when I was 13, I tried to be in the YouTube space, which was a very different fucking place back then. Like, if you ever want to just hear about the fucking time capsule of that era, just sit in a chat with me and Talon Productions, and we just chat absolute bollocks about those days. But I wanted to be an animator, I wanted to be a customizer. I was 13. I was a fucking idiot. I painted this guy and I ruined him. I completely wrote him off. I think he's either still somewhere in all this, hidden in a drawer somewhere, or he went into a bin because I just felt I didn't want to look at it. And a friend came round, and my friends at the time were arseholes who didn't know how to keep their hands to themselves, and they broke the gun. They jammed the wrong missile in the gun. Basically, yeah, this guy had all the potential in the world to still be part of my collection to this day, and I misused him, and I regret that quite a lot. That's squarely on me, and I fucking kick myself every time I think about this guy. He's so fucking good. Okay, so this is another 07 movie when the Protoform Starscream, it broke. It's a known victim of GPS, and one day I just remember moving the arm and the elbow just disintegrated. At that point, I can't remember if I knew about the GPS or not. And then a couple of years after, I don't know why I still had it. I just did, I didn't get rid of it. But a couple of years after, I moved the other arm and the other elbow just crumbled, and I don't know what happened to him after that. I don't know if he went into a bin, I don't know if he went as a junker, I don't know what I did with him. I don't know where he's gone. It's a shame. He was a cool toy. This guy was good at the time. A solid mold. It's got some really good ideas. I like the fact of the turret, the bit on the top, opens up and reveals... Is it a scabbard? Is that what it's called? And it's like he's got a smaller sword hidden inside it, and you can sheath the sword on the armor plating formed from the tank. I liked the real treads. I liked a lot about this guy, but his posability, just as the years went by, just didn't hold up. I can't remember when I got rid of mine. I can't remember if I got rid of it before the Legacy one, wherever the fuck he is, came out, or if I got rid of mine, because mine had a problem where there was loads of crack joints around the panels that fold into, like, form the crotch, and I was like, nah, get him the fuck out of here. He's no good to me. He's no good to me dead. Get him out. This one I sold along with a bunch of other old sort of era-specific movie stuff, because Studio Series was in full swing, and at this point I was fucking enamored with what they were going to do, and then I just never picked up the Studio Series one. This one was okay. He wasn't amazing. He wasn't... I don't know if I could say he's even good. I liked him for what he was. He was sound for the time, but I don't know how I would feel about him today. So I don't think I'm missing anything there. Universe Silverbolt is just, he's a good toy of his time, and he's one that still, if you are someone who, like, I can forgive older stuff when there isn't a better option. With Silverbolt, it depends how you consider a better option, because this one was about 7 years before Combiner Wars. This one doesn't combine, and this one is quite bad on the kibble front. He's very simple. Like, you could transform him in probably 10 seconds. He's that simple. His colors were nice, his posability was good, I liked his weapon. Didn't give a shit about the lights and sounds, but that's my character flaw. I wasn't super hot on the transformation for the jet itself, because it's literally just on his back. It's fucking huge. He's very much a product of the time, but he was good. I was going to call this guy Quick Mix. It's heavy load. So I bought this because it was during my phase where I just wanted to buy everything. Fucking everything. Didn't give a shit who it was, what it was. Didn't give a shit when it was from. Wanted it. It was on the shelf. I fucking wanted it. And this was one of them. And I really liked just how cool this guy felt, because he had the play feature where you could put the mini-con at the top of the barrel, and then because the barrel formed an arm, you could actually articulate it separately. It kind of gave me, I remember this actually, it kind of gave me that thought from that scene with the truck in The Dark Knight, because it was the same year that come out. So I had that kind of influence in my mind, and it was like, I just imagined this grandiose chasing. Yes, I was still playing with and imagining with these guys at the age of 13. Yeah, I bet you guys don't believe I have a wife. He was fun. He wasn't great. He was a Cybertron repaint, so he had what Cybertron had to offer, just with a different color palette. I liked it. I wouldn't say it holds up, but I liked it. And last but not least, Generations Metroplex. So I have spoken on the record quite a few times about how this is probably the worst Titan. And I feel like that's going to draw some ire from people. I feel like some people are going to say, how can you say that he was the first one? He's the worst because he was the first one. So I had my own personal issues with mine. The gun had a peg to peg it onto the shoulder so he could have it shoulder mounted. The peg snapped off and I couldn't get it out. It was permanently unable to mount on the back. He could only hold it in hand, or that was it. That was the only options. He was just not very poseable. I found his joints were quite loose, like they weren't tight enough for what he was. I'm sure I could have tightened it, but I never really kind of thought about it after the fact. His transformations weren't the most extreme. Given the fact that the next follow-up Titans after this guy were Devastator, Tripticon, I'm not going to count Fort Max just because it was a retool, Predaking, Omega, Scorponok, the art. This is the thing, like, he just doesn't hold up compared to the current stuff. Whilst you can't really make a straightforward comparison between this guy and the Legacy one just does the fundamentals better, and if they decided to go the route of doing a new Metroplex, which I don't see happening for a while, if they do decide to go for him again, focus on making a good robot mode, and then see where the base modes fall in after the fact. And I think that'll about do it, this little trip down memory lane, just chatting a bit of bollocks about ones that I used to own and no longer do. What do you guys think? You know, do you think I made a mistake with any of these? Is this a kind of video you'd be interested in seeing again? Because there's a lot of these. I got rid of about 200 at this point. So if you guys would be interested, let me know. And for now, I will leave you on the end screen, and you can get hyped for what's still to come in terms of the other videos. Have a very good one. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.